You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 144.4, The Wrestling Report. Our girls wrestling regional recaps from Alexandria and Rochester. With guest Michelle Garmon of the Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Welcome, Central Indiana wrestling fans, to our first ever wrestling report. I'll almost always be joined by a guest, usually by someone in the media, but sometimes coaches or athletes, on all the reports for every sport. But today I'm joined by Michelle Garmon. That will be a very common thing because she's our very favorite, to talk about Friday's girls wrestling regionals. Michelle and I are going to go through all the local athletes who won regional championships and advanced to state. Then we'll talk about some of the other stories. Then I alone will go through all the results from Alexandria and Rochester and tell you what happened at the other regionals as well. Welcome, Michelle.
Hey, Greg. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
You took in your first ever official IHSA girls wrestling regional on Friday. Tell me your thoughts on what you saw.
Well, it was really cool to see the girls wrestle and compete, and they seemed excited and seemed to enjoy themselves and being there. And there's some really good wrestlers and some good teams. You know, you could tell the wrestlers that had been wrestling for a few years, and those that hadn't a little bit. You had some expected wins, and then you had some a little bit maybe stunning. I don't know, when you have a sectional runner up against a third place sectional person. I don't know that you can always call it like a stunning upset, but maybe a stunning loss in how quickly or how it took place. You
Right.
know, it it was great. I mean, Alec, because of they had a lot of scratches, and because they were there, they had a lot of like alternates from the sectional. So I believe Alec was originally supposed to have 5 or 6, and they ended up having eight wrestlers compete on Saturday. Only
Wow.
only one advanced out of the first round. That was Riley Thomas, and then Frankton had two girls, Jaden Hughes and McCracken, advance, and then out of the into the semifinals, because you had to win 2 matches to
Right.
advance to
You should
guarantee a
have seen that
spot.
first. Right.
Yeah, so Riley Thomas was the only Elliott girl to win a first round match. I believe Jaden Hughes and McCracken were the only Frankton girls to win a first round match. I really felt sorry for the Sanders girl out of Elwood, because she had an 11-3 lead uh,
Oh,
in the third period, and ended up getting pinned and in the first round. So I felt sorry for her. And then Grondon also lost her first round match. So it was exciting. I got to see the really good Pendleton Heights wrestler, and she's really good. And I give her a lot of kudos. Her and Riley Thomas are in the same weight class at 140, but watching her, Pendleton, she's so good, and she can do a lot of flips, but she's so gentle. Instead of slamming wrestlers to the meat, she just picks them up and softly puts them down. And I mean, she just is. You can tell she's just a great kid. Now, and there were others like that, but then you still had some of the wrestlers that threw, that did throws that were kind of hard, and you always go "Oof," when they hit the mat. But yeah, it was a great day. Delville has a couple good girls. Lapel had a girl that got on. Madison Grant had a girl that got a first round forfeit, and of course they wrestled 4 mats until they got to the play the first, the championship and the consolation matches, and then they went 2 mats. But yeah, it was a great day. It's hard to keep up with when you have 4 rounds and all of that, but there were very few first round forfeits, so there was a lot of action. It was fun. The regional, and congratulations to all the girls that earned the right to go to the Cortiva. To me, it's always going to be the Pepsi Coliseum, though, at Indiana State Fairgrounds.
I just call it the fairgrounds, Michelle. That's what it is to me.
There you go. Um, on Friday, and that's going to start at 10. I'm excited. I plan to be
Oh
there all
my,
day.
Michelle, and you and I are going to podcast from there and do some live stuff, do some interviews with some of the wrestlers and some of the coaches, and do a full day of it.
Yeah, and I'm really ecstatic. It's great for it's great for Frankton. They've had a great inaugural girls wrestling season, winning the conference championship, winning a sectional championship, and then they advanced Jaden Hughes to the state meet. She ended up second in the 110-pound weight class. She had some difficult matches. She barely she made it kind of thrilling in a way. I believe in her second round match, she got up. It was like leading 7-0 heading into the third period and held on to win 7-6. And
Wow.
then Tipton's got a wrestler going on, Emerson Atkins. Oh, by the way, Hughes is a junior. Atkins is a sophomore for Tipton. All right.
At Alexandria, we had three local champions. We'll start with Pendleton sophomore Maddie Marsh at 140 pounds. She's 17-0 this year and the reigning state champion as a freshman last year.
Oh yeah, she's she's the one I was talking about. It's fun to watch. Just such a you can just tell she's just a very classy young lady.
Yes, she is.
Like I said, she dominates. She's strength. She's able to uh, dominate, pick up, and throw her opponents, but she just does it so in a gentle way. It's really fun to watch her wrestle.
Eastbrook sophomore Haley Corporal won at 115 pounds. She's 29-2, and she finished eighth in the state last year at 120 pounds.
Yeah, I don't I remember seeing her wrestle some, but Eastbrook had a fair number of wrestlers too, and sometimes they were wrestling at the same time early, especially as like the kids I was there watching, the Ellick and Frankton, and Elwood. So, but yeah, Eastbrook did. I thought as a team, their wrestlers also performed pretty well on the mat. And
And a reminder,
congratulations to her.
I will, as a reminder, I'm going to have every single result from Alexandria and Rochester coming up after we're done here with Michelle. And Delville sophomore, you mentioned her, Kinley Keffer, is 31-0 after winning the 105-pound champion. She was the 105-pound state runner-up last year.
Yeah, it doesn't take her long on the mat. I mean, she goes out there. She's very aggressive. She scores early. I do think though, and if I'm not mistaken, in the championship is either the semifinal or the championship. I don't have the results right in front of me, but she and it wouldn't matter because I think she ended up pinning anyway. But if I saw who the girl was, I'd probably know. She actually, I don't think she scored first in one of those, but it didn't take her long to turn the tide of the match and come back and dominate and win. She's fun to watch too because she's comes out very aggressive and takes control early.
We also had several advance to state besides the three sectional or regional champions. Frankton Jr. Jaden Hughes, as we mentioned, 110 pounds. I got to interview her before the regional. Fun kid, tough kid. 21-8. She was the runner-up at 110 pounds.
Yeah, she is. She's very funny. And if you listen to my interview with her after the match, I said take me through your day, and she literally took me through her day, but in short one words. Got up, ate breakfast. I mean,
Yeah.
she's funny. I mean, it's great. It's but a charming person, just a junior. It's great
Yes.
to know that we get to see her Friday, and then get to have another year covering her.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Lapel Jr. Paige Stiers was third at 130 pounds. This is her third time qualifying for state.
Yeah, I tell you what, there was a match that she won. I believe, yeah, it was to get into to make it to the to punch her ticket. It didn't look good for her early because she came out and she was getting flipped and down. But what Stiers is so good at is she doesn't stop moving. And I wonder if she has a little bit. I think she's the one I was wondering if she had a little bit of gymnastics background because she knows how core strength, that she knows kind of how to roll and do things with her body to where if you get her, you flip her, she's continuing the move. She's not going to stop on you. Like, she doesn't get stunned.
If you notice in sound, Michelle and I had to go from online to our phones. I was getting some background. So we left off at Marion Jr. Alana Montgomery was the 120-pound runner-up. She is 21-6, and Westell has two going to state. Westell sophomores Sophia Gropp and Paisley Chambers both are going back to state after qualifying last year as freshmen.
That's great for them. And what are their weight classes again?
Um, Gropp is 155 and Chambers 170.
Those are upper, weight classes for girls a little bit. It's a tremendous job, because I do think that I'm not sure that always all of those girls that wrestle some of those upper weight classes are actually that weight. It just gives them room to not have to worry, I think, about cutting weight.
One of the things I love about sports like wrestling and track and cross country, the individual sports is um, maybe your teams aren't as good sometimes, but you're always these programs like Westell Wrestling always have really good individuals.
Yes, they do. And the nice thing about wrestling, it gives smaller schools and um, an advantage if those kids want to do a sport and they might not be able to have a full team. They can still
Right,
advance, and yeah, just like I mean, there are some that only have a handful of kids or maybe one, and
right.
but it's tremendous that allows. And I really hope girls wrestling catches on. I know there are a lot of parents that are hesitant, and there have been some parents that have told girls no. Um, and I hope that, my suggestion is, go watch. And I had a parent say something once and said, "Oh, it just sounds weird for them to wrestle." And I'm like, "Yeah, but when it's girls versus wrestling girls," I said, it's it's just neat. I mean, there's occasionally you're going to find a percentage, a smaller percentage of people who've been wrestling for a long time that are physical, that might be a little bit scary. But generally, you're finding girls that have about this. A lot of these girls have about the same amount of experience, and
And
I'll tell you what, you saw
there's
a lot of
wrong with gaining toughness, boys
no
or girls.
right, and you saw a lot of great, what I thought was really classy and great sportsmanship with the girls. I didn't, I've seen a lot of wrestling through my times, but I didn't really see any type of what you might call borderline, not necessarily illegal, but borderline nasty moves.
Right,
I've seen them in the boys. I've seen
of
guys
course.
pick up and throw with force, not caring if they injure their opponent or how they come down. And I just didn't see any of that in the girls. In some ways, I thought the girls was a lot less stressful on my body. There was only a couple times with
Right,
the torque that I felt, ooh, I feel that a little bit. With
right.
guys, I feel that a lot.
It's definitely less violent.
Yes.
By the way, I didn't tell the team scores at Alexandria. Franklin Central was the um, regional champion. Jay County was second. That was pretty close between those two, and Warren
Well,
Central in third.
well, I'll tell you what, all three of those teams, phenomenal. Their wrestlers were phenomenal. You can tell that they've invested and that their wrestlers have spent time in the weight
Yes,
room. I mean, those girls were very toned. Definition in their muscles, in their legs and in their arms, and, you know, and not bulky, not looking like men or boys,
right,
but just like in gymnastics, like
right, right.
how they look are very toned. And that's what their wrestlers looked like. They were toned and they were strong and they were aggressive. They were impressive. I mean, Warren Central had a couple girls that they were really
Yes,
good. Franklin
yes,
Central the same, and so did Jay County. I mean, it was
yes. Our top finishing team, by the way, was West Dell in 11th, local team. Riley Thomas was, would you say, the best wrestler who was left out of the state because the 140-pound division was so good?
yes. My heart went out to her because I mean, she was one of those. Her loss was stunning, and not necessarily that she lost because she faced a very good wrestler. I think Franklin Central or Jay County is who she
Jay
met in her
County, yeah,
semifinal.
Jay County.
Yeah, and She just went. She was trying to do something too hot, do something, and it didn't work. And she ended up in a bad position, and she got pinned, quickly pinned. And Riley is a senior, and I hate that for her because, and you could tell. I mean, she did everything classy. She got. I mean, she put her hand over her mouth. You could tell she was about ready to break down, but she ran over and um, graciously, after she congratulated her opponent, ran over, made sure she shook hands and talked to both coaches and then her coach, and then did that, and then she went out into the hallway, and my heart broke for her. And I was sitting next to Rob Hunt, and we were like, that's a stunner. And it wasn't. It's like he said, not necessarily a stunner. She lost because of she had a very tough matchup.
Yes, yes. The
But
division,
the
that
way
140
she lost,
division
how
was,
quickly she lost, was the
yeah,
stunner.
yeah, that 140 division was so good.
Yes.
The other thing I wanted to mention, Michelle, was Frankton won the team sectional championship, and now they have a representative going to state. What a great year for the Eagles.
Oh yeah. I mean, it is a great year for the Eagles and what they're doing. And they were of my area teams. The teams that I focus on, the four schools I focus on. They by far had the most numbers and a good turnout, and I believe that they're expecting another good turnout next year. And kudos to them. And they're looking at this. The coach is like, what a great learning experience and a great thing to happen to them to bring excitement to that program. Because even though Jaden's the only one going to state, they had won a pair of team championships. And let's real quickly put this in perspective. The boys have a sectional, a regional, and a semi-state round before they go to the state. For girls, it's sectional, regional, state. And that's because there aren't as many girls or as many schools that have teams. So it's, the numbers is trying to eliminate a lot of forfeits to get there. And, but so when you bring in a lot of these schools, I mean, some of these, some of these girls, local girls, might have lost to somebody that if this was boys, they wouldn't have faced till the semi-state level.
Right. Yeah. All right, Michelle. Now let's talk a little bit about the Rochester Regional. We had, oh, let me go over the scores real fast. New Haven was the champion with 130.5 points, easily over runner-up Columbia City. And shout out to the Western Panthers, our best local wrestling team. It looks like they finished third in the Rochester Regional. Hamilton Heights is probably our second best. They finished fifth. Kokomo 10th. Tipton 23rd. Thoughts on Western?
Think about Tipton with 23rd. That's one wrestler,
One
folks. That's
wrestler.
just
That's
one
right.
wrestler.
That's one wrestler. Talk about Western's program and how impressive that is.
The Shepherds have built an outstanding boys wrestling program at Western, and then I believe they have a hand in building this girls program. And I am not surprised at all to see Western have a strong girls program because their boys have been so strong. And you know, when you when you think of Western High School and you think of athletics, and this is no knock on any of the other sports, but I think the three sports that jump out at you and people say, "Oh, yeah, they're pretty good," and that's wrestling, baseball, and softball. And
That's
not
right.
because Cam's done a great job with basketball, and their girls basketball team, I believe, has a state runner-up or a state championship a few years ago under their belts. Volleyball's been all right, but for sustained
Right.
success and what the athletes they bring, those are, I think, the three sports. And so I'm not surprised at all about their girls with the wrestling program. I think it's fantastic. If it grows like the boys program did, they're going to be a tough team, and they're going to be a tough team for a very long time.
We had two local champions at Rochester, and one of them was Western freshman Jade Johnson, who is now 32-0 at 145 pounds as a
Yeah,
freshman.
that's impressive.
Usually, when you see successful freshmen, they're at 100 pounds or 105 pounds. Hamilton Heights sophomore Kendall Moe is 21-0, and she was the champion at 105 pounds. Hamilton Heights also great program.
Yeah. Well, and Mo is a very good wrestler. By the way, I believe Mo got out of the boys sectional last year, okay, and
Wow.
went to the regional. I mean, I've seen Kendall Mo wrestle in person, not this year, but last year. She was impressive on the mat last year, and she's impressive. It doesn't surprise me. I would think she has a very good shot at winning a state championship, the same as the Western girl. Like I said, she's a tremendous wrestler. She was real impressive in the boys sectional a year ago.
Real fast, Michelle, also for Western seniors Rebecca and Reagan McGuire, and freshman Ava Rowe advanced to state. And for Hamilton Heights, senior Zoe Pugh and junior Isabella Bailey will join Mo at state. Again, those two programs look like the two best going forward in Central Indiana at this point.
Yes.
Also advancing to state, Tipton sophomore Emerson Adkins, as you said, the only Blue Devil wrestler, was runner-up at 190 pounds. Her first trip ever to state. She is 26-3.
Yeah, she wrestled with the boys last year too, and I think she got fifth or like fifth in this section last year, and there was an upper weight class, so she was wrestling, so she got fifth. So, but Emerson, I had a wonderful interview with her before Friday's meet, and she is just a neat young lady, and I know the Tipton coaches are excited. They love having her be the face of the program and getting into the history books. She's got older brothers that wrestle, so she's been wrestling for a while, and she's going to be one that's just going to get better, because I know she wrestles 170, but it's hard to look at her and think she's 100, close to
Yeah,
170 pounds.
that's right. All right. Kokomo senior Brielle Humphreys was the runner-up at 235. She was fourth in the state the last 2 years.
Yeah, she's a very tough wrestler. It doesn't surprise me that she went on. And I think, did she lose to a New Haven girl?
Attica.
Attica. Okay. So that girl from Attica has to be really, really good too, because Brielle is really good. She's had a fantastic season, and that's the bad thing, folks. Sometimes is too is when you do get up into those upper weight classes, sometimes it can just be a balance thing, that if you don't catch yourself just right, or if momentum can get you in a bad position, and sometimes it's hard to get out of that.
Last thing, Tri Central had a pair of wrestlers. Nice job by them getting there.
Yeah,
And
they had tough
yeah,
draws,
yes, they did.
and you wanted to win the sectional if you could, because going in as a sectional champion, that meant you were facing a fourth place sectional finisher, so that gave you the upper hand in your first match. And then in the second match, it's a little tougher, but the draw can help you out. Michaela Philippi and Abby Cardwell, they had tough luck draws for the second round matches, especially Cardwell. She faced an outstanding wrestler in her second round, and I hate it for her, because I know she wishes that she wasn't a senior and could be doing this for a few more years at the high school level. She really enjoyed her season.
Yeah,
Had a nice talk with her before.
She also lost to the girl from Attica as well, who, by the way, needed just a minute and 16 seconds the entire day for 4
Yeah.
pins.
Yeah, my guess is she's just probably really strong.
And by the way,
And
Cardwell was her longest one. 36 seconds was her toughest match of the day.
well, all right for Cardwell. That's fantastic. And like I said, Abby Cardwell, a neat lady. I do hate that she's a senior and doesn't get
Yeah.
to experience a little bit more of this, because same way with, like, I'm going back, but same way with Franklin's Naomi McCracken, because I think is
Yes.
McCracken a senior too. I think she is too.
Yes, that's too
And those
bad.
two girls epitomize what's so great about girls wrestling.
Yes.
Girls that normally wouldn't do any sport but decided to wrestle, enjoyed it, found success at it, and it's just a shame they only got 1 year to do it.
Please stay tuned for wrestling regional results from Alexandria and Rochester.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengel.
At the Alexandria Regional, Franklin Central was the team champion. Jay County was second, 19 points behind the Flashes, and Warren Central was third, just 2.5 points behind Jay County. Those three were way out ahead of everybody else. Locally, Westdell was 11th, Carmel 12th, Pendleton Heights 13th, Daleville 14th, Eastbrook 16th, Marion finished in 18th, Frankton was 20th, LaPel 27th, Anderson 29th, Hamilton Southeastern 30th, Blackford 31st, and Alexandria, Cowan, Fishers, Madison Grant, Yorktown were all tied with 4 points in 34th place. As we go through the individual rounds, please keep in mind that the top 4 from each division move on to the state finals Friday at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. And we will be doing a live podcast from the girls wrestling state finals, assuming everything goes to plan. Not everything always goes to plan, but that's the plan. At 100 pounds at Alexandria, the champion is Ron Colley Jr. Claire May. She's 27-1 on the year. She defeated Perry Meridian sophomore Anaya Delgado 9-4 in the championship. Jay County Jr. Caitlin Rowles was third. Greenwood freshman Violet Roll was fourth. Locally, Marion sophomore Braylee Sutton was defeated by Franklin Central sophomore Gracie Meeks 11-5 in the first round. Eastern Junior Nicole Smith, the Frankton sectional champion, was pinned by Roll in the first round. And after receiving a first round bye, Daleville's Bailey Viner was pinned by Roll in the second round. At 105 pounds, as Michelle and I discussed, Daleville sophomore Kinley Keffer improved to 31-0 on the season with 3 pins and a 17-1 tech fall in just over a minute to win the championship at 105 pounds. She pinned Warren Central sophomore Rihanna Benson in a minute and 36 seconds in the championship. Cecina freshman Irma Ramos was second. Shenandoah freshman Carson Merritt finished fourth. Locally, junior Madison Henderson pinned Carmel freshman Tess Self in the first round, but came up a win short of state after losing to Benson in the second round. Alexandria freshman Chloe Neal was pinned by Keffer in the first round, and Merritt ended Mississinawa senior Abby Hodgson's season with a pin in 3 minutes and 38 seconds. At 110 pounds, the champion is North Central junior Monica Alvarado. She's now 23-2 on the season after going 4-0 Saturday. She pinned Frankton junior Jaden Hughes in 5 minutes and 41 seconds in the championship match. Hughes improves to 24-8 and advances to the state finals. Jay County senior Tatiana Willis and Perry Meridian's Leah Shelton also advanced to state. Locally, Madison Grant Jr. Elizabeth Winchester came up a win short of state after a loss to Alvarado in the second round. Alexandria sophomore Layla Moore was pinned by Lawrence Central freshman Katie Sandoval Hernan in the first round, and Blackford sophomore Lily McCammon was beaten in the first round by Franklin County sophomore Jadis Sordelay in the first round. At 115 pounds, Eastbrook sophomore Haley Corporal is the regional champion. She's now 29-2 on the year after 3 pins and a major decision win over Beech Grove sophomore Anna McCarty in the championship. Carmel sophomore Grace Sharp was third. She's now 20-5. And Centerville senior Zuria Phillips finished fourth. Frankton sophomore Hannah O'Brien lost in the opening round to McCarty, and Muncie Central senior Courtney Thrash was pinned by Phillips in the opening round. At 120 pounds, the champion is Milan junior Kayla Roll. She is now 32-1 on the year. She pinned Marion junior Alana Montgomery in a minute and 24 seconds. Montgomery advances to state with a record of 21-6. Jay County freshman Brenna Rubel And Roncalli Jr. Olivia Lemus also advanced to state. Locally, Blackford Jr. Sarah Yoho won her first match 13-4, but was pinned by the eventual champion in the second round. Alexandria Senior Haley Malston lost to Rubel in the first round. At 125 pounds, Warren Central Senior Amina Rusan-Guko was the regional champion. She's now 38-1. She defeated Southport freshman Hope Centeny 15-0 at 4 minutes and 23 seconds in the technical fall. Third place was Hagerstown sophomore Abigail Gilbert. Fourth place, Franklin Central freshman Aaliyah Roberts. Locally, Alexandria Junior Emmeline Gillian lost in the first round to the champion, and Cowan Jr. Emma Jones finished 24-5 after losing to Rusan-Guko in the second round. Frankton Senior Malia Brooks lost to Plainfield sophomore Ariana Cazeta, and Eastern Senior Paige Kokendorfer was defeated by Centeny. Both of those were in the first round. At 130 pounds, the champion is Beech Grove Senior Jaden Maudry. She's now 28-4 on the year. She beat New Pal sophomore June Wagner Gilbert, who's now 32-4. That final score was 3-2 in the most competitive championship match of the entire regional. For third place, after a tough loss to Wagner Gilbert in the semifinals, Lapel Junior Paige Stiers beat Lawrence Central Senior Samara Swanigan for third place. Locally, besides Stiers, Anderson Jr. Ashante Jackson lost to Wagner Gardner in the first round. Marion Jr. Grace Carpenter pinned Westell sophomore Kirsten Ronan in the first round and then was pinned by Swanigan in the second round. Stiers ended Eastbrook freshman Olivia Reyes' season in the first round, and Carmel Jr. Giabella Romano beat Cowan Jr. Candace Watson 13-4 in the first round. At 135 pounds, Southport senior Kyla Johnson had 4 pins, including a minute and 8 seconds in the championship win over Franklin Central junior Madeline Thompson. Jay County senior Lena Lingo and Beech Grove senior Maya Miller also advanced to state. Locally, Anderson senior Alexandria Renteria came up 1 win short of state. She pinned Franklin County sophomore Sage Leasing in the first round before a 14-9 loss to Thompson. Alexandria sophomore Lillian Adams lost in the opening round to Lawrence Central junior Ryla Arila. Marion sophomore Danny Purdy was a first-round victim of Richmond junior Ambria Tate. At 140 pounds, Pendleton sophomore Maddie Marsh remained unbeaten on the season with 4 pins, including 1 minute and 16 seconds in the championship match over Franklin Central senior Diana Myers. Warren Central senior Shemaya Long and New Pal senior Jillian Champ also advanced to state. Locally, the hard luck story of the day was Alexandria senior Riley Thomas. She pinned Lawrenceburg junior Lacey Lowe in the first round, but was pinned by Champ in the second 1 win away from state. Marion junior Michaela Bailey was pinned by Lawrence North junior Christine Fox in the first round. Eastern freshman Addison Brock lost 3-1 in the first round to Lawrence Central senior Carly Wilson. At 145 pounds, Greenfield Central senior Jasmine Camacho is the champion after she pinned East Central senior Lena Prater in the championship match. Camacho is now 27-3. Beech Grove freshman Caitlin Dibburn and Franklin Central freshman Kanaya Alexander also advanced to state. Locally, Anderson sophomore Tanisha Samuels pinned Hamilton Southeastern sophomore Samantha Broyles in the first round and was pinned by Dibburn in the second. Blackford junior Addison Flores pinned Alexandria sophomore Emma Morgan in the first round. Flores was then beaten by Prater 1 step away from state. Frankton senior Emily Johns lost to Jay County senior Malaya Parsons in the first round. Eastern junior Kennedy Stone lost in the first round to New Pal sophomore Ella Morris. At 155 pounds, Southport senior Evelyn Moscone is the champion. She's now 26-1. She defeated Greenfield Central senior Ella Harpold 8-0 in the championship match. Westdale sophomore Sophia Gropp was third. She's now 23-2 on this season. She defeated Carmel junior Daniela Zarate Ramirez 7-0 in the consolation match. Locally, Anderson senior Mariah Elliott pinned Lawrence Central freshman Brene Bellamy in the first round before being pinned by Gropp in 49 seconds in the second round. Madison Grant junior Patricia Van Mater lost to Richmond freshman Kiesia Golden in the first round. At 170 pounds, Jay County senior Mallory Winner was the championship winner. She's now 32, and that was really bad. She's now 32-0 on the year after being regional champion. She had 3 pins before a 1-0 win over Para Meridian junior Lydia Quale in the championship match. Westdale sophomore Paisley Chambers was third. She pinned Franklin Central sophomore Sadie Tilden in the consolation match. Locally, Eastbrook freshman Avery Stevenson pinned Centerville sophomore Reagan Colley in the first round to get 1 win away from state, but she was beaten by Quale in the second round. Frankton freshman Ellie Martin was eliminated in the first round by Warren Central senior Kimberly Bautista. Yorktown sophomore Desiree Walker lost in the first round to Franklin County junior Lila Westerman. And Anderson junior Lorena Elliott lost to Tilden in the first round. Pendleton Heights freshman Langston Smallwood was beaten by Quale in the first round. At 190 pounds, Warren Central senior Jasmine Hollins Rowe pinned her way to a regional championship with 4 pins, including a minute and 21 seconds over Triton Central sophomore Zoe Gray in the championship. North Central junior Jaleese Taylor was third. Franklin Central junior Sophia Jones finished fourth. Locally, Elwood sophomore Amber Sanders, Alexandria sophomore Suzanne Buck, and Marion freshman Hannah Smith were all beaten in the first round. Sanders had a lead for most of her match against Monroe Central junior Kiera Lawrence. At 235 pounds, North Central freshman Rachel Adolphi had 3 pins and earned a match forfeit in the championship match against runner-up Lawrence North senior Michelle Dubard. She's now 34-1 on the year. Greenfield Central sophomore Keely Allen and Franklin Central sophomore Jaylee Holler advanced to state in 3rd and 4th, respectively. Locally, Frankton senior Naomi McCracken, who became an instant favorite of all of the media, pinned Hagerstown senior Charlie Reinhart in the first round, but came up just 1 win short of state when she was pinned by Adolphi in the second round. Pendleton Heights senior Lillian Faircloth also came up 1 win short of state. She pinned Muncie Central sophomore Jasmine Ray, then was pinned by Dubard in the second round. Elwood freshman Autumn Grondin was eliminated by Hamilton Southeastern junior Fanta Saul in the first round. Now to the Rochester Regional, where New Haven was an easy regional champion. Columbia City was second, Western finished third, Hamilton Heights was fifth, Kokomo 18th, Tipton 23rd. Again, it probably doesn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. The top 4 in each category advanced to state. At 100 pounds, Riverton Park freshman Shelby Lightgable pinned Terre Haute North freshman Emma Ellis in 4 minutes and 34 seconds to win the championship. Tri-County senior Sydney Stoller and Lafayette Jeff senior Alexis Baumgartner also advanced to state. Locally, Kokomo freshman Spencer Mart won 17-2 in the first round over Fort Wayne North's Annabelle Cervantes before a tough 10-8 loss to Ellis in the second round. That is a heartbreaker. Hamilton Heights freshman Madeline McKinney lost in the first round to New Haven sophomore Annalise Sanchez. At 105 pounds, Hamilton Heights junior Kendall Moe is now 21-0 after 4 pins in the regional, including 3 minutes and 27 seconds over Lafayette Jeff senior Sanaya Henderson in the championship match. Rochester junior Lily Gerard was third, and Benton Central sophomore Lariana Dillon finished fourth. Locally, Western freshman Bella Jones was pinned by Zionsville senior Brianna Chow in the first round, as was Northwestern freshman Cheyenne Brew by Park Heritage freshman Reese Benjamin. At 110 pounds, Clinton Prairie senior Katie Fearnow is 25-6 on the year after winning the regional championship by 4 straight pins, including 307 over Fort Wayne North sophomore Giselle Klein in the championship match. Western senior Rebecca McGuire finished third. Delphi senior Catherine Emerson was fourth. McGuire's now 17-5 on the year. Northwestern freshman Caden Parado was pinned by Fearnow in the first round. At 115 pounds, New Haven sophomore Isabel Ocampo had 4 straight wins to win the regional championship. She beat Rossville freshman Marissa Nicholas in the championship match, pinning her in 2 minutes and 41 seconds. And Western senior Reagan McGuire finished third as well. She's now 21-10. She pinned North Miami senior Lily Quinn in the consolation match. Both McGuire and Quinn advanced to state. Locally, Hamilton Heights senior Aubrey Baber pinned Fort Wayne senior Serena Bean in the first round, but was eliminated by Nicholas in the second round. At 120 pounds, McCutcheon Jr. Aaliyah McLean defeated Hamilton Heights senior Zoe Pugh 5-3 in what had to be the best championship match of the day at Rochester. Columbia City senior Alexis Spalding and Terre Haute South sophomore Charlie Miles will join McLean and Pugh at state. Locally, Kokomo junior Nevaeh Wilson pinned Park Heritage freshman Addison Kaufman before a loss to Spalding in the second round. And Western sophomore Shaylee Walker won her first round match, pinning Lebanon sophomore Chloe Heinold before her season ended with a loss to McLean in the second round. In the championship match of the 125-pound division, Rochester sophomore McKenna McKee defeated Logansport junior Olivia Gibson 14-0 in the championship match. They'll be joined at state by Columbia City freshman Faye Wathera and Carroll junior Madison Waltz. Locally, Western senior Genesis Johnson lost in the first round to Wathera, and Kokomo sophomore Michaela Rubish was pinned by McKee in the first round. At 130 pounds, New Haven freshman Lanessa Ocampo had 4 straight wins to win the regional title, including 1 minute and 47 seconds over North Miami junior Lindsay Pugh in the championship match. Greencastle senior Aurora Roberts and Attica senior Jocelyn Barnett were third and fourth and will be going to state. Locally, Sheridan junior Devin Puwarski came up 1 win short of state. She beat Kokomo junior Jalea Williams in the first round 24-16, then lost to Barnett 9-3 in the second round. Western senior Emma Rowe was pinned in the opening round by North Montgomery junior Sophia Shea. In the championship match at 135 pounds, Homestead senior Katie Vardaman pinned Clinton Prairie senior Shelby Looper in 1 minute even. Vardaman is now 33-2, Looper 34-2. Third place was Delphi senior Taylor Martin. Fourth place, Northfield sophomore Amara Frieden. Locally, Tri-Central sophomore Michaela Philippi pinned Benton Central senior Isabel Sayer and then lost to the eventual champion Vardaman in the second round. Sheridan junior Adriana Hammersley won her first round with a 56-second pin of Wabash senior Rylan Marks, then lost to Looper 5-2 in the second round, another heartbreaker. Western junior Lainey Hamilton was pinned by Martin in the first round. At 140 pounds, Huntington North senior Aubrey Troutner defeated Columbia City senior Hannah Maggard, was forced to withdraw during the final. Western freshman Ava Rowe is 20-4. She pinned Cherubusco sophomore Cheyenne Shelton for third place to advance to state. Locally, Kokomo freshman Jacqueline Groves lost to Harrison sophomore Hadley Rowe in the first round. At 145 pounds, Western freshman Jade Johnson pinned Clinton Prairie senior Ari's Day in the championship in 3 minutes and 18 seconds to take the 145-pound regional championship. North Montgomery senior Hannah Coons was second. She defeated Hamilton Heights junior Isabella Bailey in the consolation match, but Bailey had already earned her trip to state with a pair of pins earlier in the day. Locally, Sheridan junior Ava Todd was pinned by Johnson in the opening round. Tough draw. At 155 pounds, Northfield senior Ella Gall pinned New Haven senior Olivia Bodie in 1 minute and 59 seconds. Gall remains unbeaten at 27-0 this year. South Vermilion senior Rosie Travioli finished third. Twin Lakes junior Jalen Guthrie was fourth. Locally, Western freshman Aubrey Barthay lost to Guthrie in the first round. At 170 pounds, the championship match went to New Haven senior Heaven Gardner, who was the only regional champion who was not a sectional champion the week before. She defeated Tipton sophomore Emerson Adkins 15-0 in the championship match. Adkins is now 26-3, and both of them, of course, advanced to state. Rochester junior Lane Pepler was third. Lebanon junior Clara Gramlin is fourth. Locally, Western senior Kylie Miller lost in the first round to Snyder junior Alexis Zuber in the opening round, and Hamilton Heights sophomore Amelia Cordero Balling was pinned by Gardner in the first round. At 190 pounds, the championship match was won by Terre Haute junior Trista Powers. She pinned Harrison senior Mackenzie Conklin in the championship match. It was her fourth straight pin of the day. Third place was Columbia City senior Michaela Clifford. Fourth place was Lafayette Jeff Jr. Liberty Casada. Locally, Hamilton Heights freshman Natalie Head lost in the first round to Northview senior Alex Brown, and Kokomo junior Aubriana Fitz was pinned by Powers in the first round. And at 235 pounds, the champion and perhaps the most impressive wrestler of the entire day was Attica junior Aubrey Bartkowski. She's now 31 and 34-1 on the year. She had 4 pins, including one over Kokomo senior Brielle Humphreys in 16 seconds. Her longest pin of the day took 36 seconds. That was against Tri-Central senior Abby Cardwell. She was only on the mat a total of 1 minute and 15 seconds to win 4 matches. So, of course, Kokomo's Brielle Humphreys also advances to state, as does Harrison Jr., Aaron Cobble, and New Haven freshman Dejia McGee. Cardwell was 1 win short of state. She pinned Fountain Central's sophomore Amira Wells and then had the bad luck of facing Bartkowski in the second round. Western senior Savannah Hamblin lost in the first round to Terre Haute North senior Cameron Cheeseman. Merrillville dominated the regional at Goshen, beating runner-up Crown Point by 50 points. And third place East Noble by 77. At Mooresville, Columbus East edged Whiteland for the regional championship. Thanks to Michelle Garmon for joining me, and thank you for listening. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, or follow so you don't miss a single segment. We are at Apple, Amazon, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report, and it's easy to find. It would also be helpful if you would tell a friend. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media.